Hi, my name is Visha. Now I would like to explain about the company background of Mega Media Holding Berhad. Mega Media Holding Berhad was incorporated in Malaysia on 23 October 1999 as a public limited company, and it was listed on the second board of the Bursa Malaysia, which is Malaysia Stock Exchange, in August 2000. The principal activity of the company and its subsidiaries originally was in the manufacturing and marketing of electronic data storage products such as diskettes, videotape, and recordable compact discs. Now I would like to explain about governance structure. So first we have board of director, which is responsible for overall management, strategic decisions, and oversight executive actions. And the board includes the independent members and is chaired by Daniel Ike, which is CEO and the chairman. And the second one is executive management team. So executive management team is led by Daniel Ike, which is chief executive officer, include executive responsible for finance, operation, marketing, legal, and technology. And the third one we have shareholder. So shareholder is on the company and exercise voting right during the annual general meeting. And also major shareholder include Daniel Ike and Martin Lorenzon, who hold significant voting power. And the fourth one is committed under the board. So the audit committed oversees financial reporting and internal control, and also have remuneration committed determine executive pay and incentive. And the last one is nomination committee, which is recommend board members for elections. And the last one is corporate governance policy, which is emphasize ethics, integrity, transparency, and accountability in decision making and business conduct. So that is for governance structure. Now I would like to pass to my friend.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul Aisyah Rabiatul Adawiyah. I will present for the subtopic corporate governance and CSR issue. For corporate governance refers to the principal policies and practices that guide how a company is directed, managed, and held accountable to its stakeholders. While for CSR, which is corporate social responsibility issue, refer to any social, ethical, or environmental challenge that a company needs to manage responsibly as part of its business operations. For the first point of corporate governance and CSR issue is board oversight and code compliance. All directors always attended the mandatory based on the annual report of Megan. All directors attended the mandatory accreditation program to strengthen their governance skills. Second, the board was responsible for approving strategies, monitoring performance, and ensuring the integrity of internal control system. It is related to ethical leadership to form the foundation of CSR. It is also board ensures transparency, integrity, and compliance in, in the company. Board ensures transparency, integrity, and compliance through the employee in the company. For the third point, our internal control and audit system. The audit committee for Macon Media Holding are chaired by independent director named Rizwan bin Abdul Rahman. Internal audits were conducted regularly to review financial discipline and risk management within both local and overseas subsidiaries. The board accepted overall responsibility for the integrity and adequacy of internal controls. Transparency and accountability are heart of CSR for internal control. For internal control in the management is a mechanism for ethical and responsible governance aligning with CSR's value of trust and openness. For the third point, our internal control and audit system. The audit committee for Megan Media Holding are chaired by independent director named Rizwan bin Abdurrahman. Internal audits were conducted regularly to review financial discipline and risk management within both local and overseas subsidiaries. The board accepted overall responsibility for the integrity and adequacy of internal controls. Transparency and accountability are heart of CSR for internal control. For internal control in the management is a mechanism for ethical and responsible governance aligning with CSR's value of trust and openness. Lastly, based on annual report of Megan Media Holding Governance CSR link in chairman's statement, it is to emphasize that the board was mindful of maintaining good corporate governance and initiated several measures. It is to reduce risk and enhance governance. He also mentioned that MMHB was investing 200 million ringgit in new technology HD, DVD, and Blu-ray. It is a way to ensure long-term business sustainability, balancing profit with responsibility, and it is reflecting sustainable economic growth and innovation.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Kaisar Elisa binti Al-Sabri from the 85A. So in my part, I will talk about issue and implication from this case. So the first one I will talk about the issue, and the second part I will talk about the implication. So the first one is fraudulent revenue reporting. So Megan Media Berhad, former financial controller and executive chairman, were charged for furnishing false revenue figure to Bursa Malaysia. So if we look at the table, this table is from Security Company Malaysia. The false statement involved over RM 1 billion ringgit in revenue for the financial statement for the year end 30 April 2006, and a quarterly reported in 2006 to 2007. For instance, more than 75% of the report revenue of 306.50 million ringgit for the quarter end 31 January 2007 was falsified. So the next one is the creation of fictitious transaction. So a forensic accounting investigation launched after a default on 47 million ringgit payment to bondholder revealed substantial irregularity. This include fictitious trading that result in receivable totaling from 334.3 million, and the second one RM 211 million deposit paid for 30 production lines that were believed to be fictitious. So the use of fictitious involved to support the false revenue figure. So we go to the next slide. So the last one is misstated financial health. The scale of fraud led to massive restatement of the company financial health. So Megan Media Berhad reported an unaudited net loss of RM 1.3 billion ringgit for fiscal year end April 2007, a drastic change from a previously reported profit on 60 million the year before, and the company total equity stood at the deficit of nearly 797 million ringgit. So we go to the next slide is the major implication from the case Mega Media Berhad. The scandal had served implication for company, its officers, shareholder, and the Malaysia capital market regulatory environment. So the first implication was on company delisting and bankruptcy due to an inability to sort off financial wounds stemming from falsified revenue. Mega Media Berhad could not survive. The company was subsequently delisted from Bursa Malaysia in 2008. So the next one is loss of investor wealth. The share price of Mega Media Berhad plummeted from share price drop by 85% over a period of 3 months after the news of false statement became public, resulting in significant shareholder losses. So the third one is criminal penalties for executive. Key individuals involved face criminal charges under the Secretary Industry Act 1983 for furnishing false statement. The former executive chairman and director Datuk Dr. Haji Muhammad Adam bin Che Harun was convicted and ultimately sentenced for 80 million in jail and fine of 300,000 ringgit. The former financial controller, Kenneth Kok Hansen, pleaded guilty to be abetting the submission of false revenue figure and was sentenced to fine of 350,000 ringgit. Thought the secretary company had appealed for heavier penalty. So the last one is the strengthening of regulatory oversight. So the case, along with other corporate scandals like a Transmile, highlighted a weakness in corporate governance and auditing practice in Malaysia. This directly contributed to establish of the Audit Oversight Board (AOB) in 2010 to enhance the quality of audit of public listed companies and maintain investor confidence. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Danish Hafizi bin Muhammad Hafiz. My mentor's number is 06D8020TF1063. So for today, for this slide, I will talk about role of auditors. Auditors has two slides, which is external auditor and internal auditor. So for external auditor, firstly, my first point is primary role. Primary role is to create an independent opinion to make sure that the financial statement are properly to give the true and fair view of the state of affair of the company. Point number two is scope of audit. Scope of audit is as it has to follow the rules of standards on auditing in Malaysia. It is because to make sure that the purpose is to obtain reasonable assurance that the statements are free from misstatements. So we're gonna to the next slides. So we can see based on this slide is my point number 2 which is the internal auditors. So my first point for internal auditor is responsibility. So based on responsibility, the auditor have to carry out their responsibility in auditing to ensure that the result is true and to ensure that nothing is being hidden. So my